Power. Every day, dollar just they get the higher power over naira. See them talk say make we off mind, but thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you lie down, yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make we shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. Politico, oh, yeah, yeah. My ego don't come, oh, yeah, yeah. This one not day off in mind, oh, yeah, yeah. My ego don't come, oh, yeah, yeah. Person where they do evil, no one make person talk. Them say that my ego, that man too they talk. He too they talk. Say my ego diary, he they hot like pepper. But every day then they take money in bulk. Woman picking, they the street they hawk. Still them talk say make we no talk, but thank God say my ego don't come. So my people make you laugh, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My people make you shout, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, oh yo yo. My ego don't come, man of the masses.
Hello there. Good morning to you, good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun Live. Brethren, you are welcome to the Temple of Truth. Tonight, read the caption of the broadcast, the description of the broadcast, share it. Like the broadcast as your offering. We will start in a minute. 40 trillion naira demand. Ransom. This is coming from the kidnappers who kidnapped 16 people in Kaduna just about a week ago.
Please,
if you are watching me on Facebook or YouTube, please let me know how the sound is, on your own device there, okay? Let me know if the music is coming out nice or it is still poor. The sound generally. Thank you. Please share the broadcast. Eucelia Gabaline. Okay, Motide. Now, good morning to you once again. Good afternoon to you, and good evening to you from wherever you are watching from. It is Mayegun Live, of course, for those who are watching this on the hour live. So those of you who are going to be watching replay, it's still the same thing. You know what I mean? Now, the rider for tonight's broadcast is that of the news from one of the terrorists that kidnapped Nigerians last week. This particular group of terrorists kidnapped 16 people, okay, in a community called the Goningora in Kaduna. So what they did at first was they killed some of the people who resisted them, who resisted being kidnapped. They killed some, then kidnapped 16. Then afterward, others, who kidnapped their women in Borono, who kidnapped their school children in, the school children in Kaduna and all these places. So what we have now is that one of them has made a demand, or one of the terrorist groups, and the ridiculous demand has broken the internet this evening when they said for them to release the 16 people they kidnapped in Goningora, they will need 40 trillion naira ransom. Of course, it is ridiculous. I don't think anybody is going to give them a 40 trillion. Or you have seen those ragtag Fulani terrorists. You have seen many of them. We have seen them. And we know the multi-billion dollars, if you have to convert it, so to say, because it's like a trillion naira industry right now, kidnapping industry, terrorism industry, their sponsors, the system that allows them to move their money and all of that stuff. Everything is like a huge industry in Nigeria now. But we believe that the terrorists that you see, all those dirty ragtag looking terrorists, those are just their guns. Their sponsor who actually collect this money, they are those mostly you call your your leaders. So 16 trillion for 16 people. I'm sorry, 40 trillion rather for 16 people. Eventually, they will ferry millions of naira, hundreds of millions of naira to these terrorists through the same government cover, public money. 40 trillion. You know, there is something about this act of terrorism in Nigeria that if you are one of those who probably don't see it yet, you may not understand or yet realize the level of danger that you have been existing in, okay? Nigeria's national debt is put at somewhere around 120, 130 trillion naira. But officially, they put it around 100 trillion. Now, if terrorists could sit together and make a demand of a 40 trillion, it's going to be like a bargain. You get that now? So the the terror sponsor within the system who are possibly going to process all this money eventually, right? They know they won't get that. They won't get 40 trillion. That's not the goal. Okay. We currently have over 800 women and children in the hands of the terrorists. But Nigeria is a place where, just so you know, Nigeria is a place that spends almost 1/3 of our national budget on security. And in this case, right, Nigeria, that invested so much in security, including spying on their own citizens. They have collected data, most of the data that are meant to provide national security. They are now being used just to provide private security for the highest bidder, starting with the criminal politicians in government in Nigeria. So they will use the instrument of government to spy on their citizens, monitor them. Even if you think you are anonymous, the Nigerian security system is capable of tracking anyone, not just in Nigeria, all over the world. But since this APC, Egbekegbe, came in, tracking terrorists became impossible. Terrorists in Nigeria, they are using phones. They are making videos. They are making calls. Baba, terrorists in Nigeria are transferring money, depositing money in bank. Okay? But every Nigerian is believed that you cannot really do some of these things. You can't have a phone number without you registering or giving your biometric in Nigeria. That's what their normal thing says, like normal people. Okay? So which means every SIM card or every line is linked to someone because they are BVN, which is also like biometric too. What do you call that one? BVN or BNIN? I don't know. They link that. This is also like linking your personal details in the National Archive, linking that to your SIM card. If you make calls, the only way you cannot be tracked in Nigeria is never to turn on a phone. But terrorists in Nigeria, they make calls. The police, the DSS, and the rest of all those security guys that were supposed to be providing security for you, preventing crimes, preventing terrorism, they are more interested in what you are saying about Ifnumbu or about Nigeria economy. In fact, they are more interested in what you are saying about security than they are interested in actually chasing the terrorists. Not that they don't have the resources. This guy spent over 4 billion naira Nigeria money. I remember that, just to be able to crack. Is that the right word? To crack your WhatsApp messages. You know, normally they will tell you that WhatsApp messages, they are end-to-end encryption, Abi. They are the messages that cannot be hacked. Nigerian government, like other governments all over the world, they have the equipment, they have what it takes to breaking into your, and they did all of this. Ironically, when it's a pandemic, the Boko Haram sympathizer, a jihadist inside Boko Haram's government, was made Minister for Communication. I've been a Minister of Communication. So Minister of Communication was a jihadist, a Boko Haram sympathizer, who just had the opportunity of supervising or collecting the data or details of every one of you Nigerian, including those of you who are abroad. They collected my own information too because I wanted their passport, right? So I had to do NIN or something. So they had to take my biometric, they had to take all of that and all my details. You know, they were given to ISA pandemic. Do you see why I would never forgive? Boko Haram is a terror group. Every one of you who don't go to that Nigeria place to do any confirmation or verification, they handed all of our information to a terrorist. It's a pandemic. ISA pandemic was able to track everyone saying something, whether you are in abroad or you are in Nigeria, wherever you are, they were able to track everyone saying something about Boko Haram or trying to organize a protest or trying to organize a meeting. Anything you are doing anywhere, even with your fake name, they will track you down because the person tracking you is the person who is not loyal to the country, but loyal to the terrorist that they have set on us. They are set after us. They were telling us that our reaction is going to cause division. Our reaction is going to cause hatred against the Fulani. We are reacting to the killings of our loved ones, our people. And they said, oh, your reaction is going to divide Nigeria. All of you you need to be very careful. You cannot say they are Fulani, just call them bandits. We refuse to call terrorists bandits, or we call them Fulani terrorists. So that was a crime. So our information was in the hand of a terrorist who was monitoring all of us everywhere. Rather than for terrorists to become the people of interest to the government of Nigeria, all of us complaining, raising alarm, we became the real threat to a terrorist government that today is on record, destroyed Nigeria beyond any recovery. You will never recover from this, I promise you. We are not coming back from this. So under them, terrorism became an industry. Terrorists were moving about. When COVID came, they were transporting terrorists to all part of southern Nigeria under the cover of COVID, no movement. After that, 2021, 2022, the killings skyrocketed. And the people who were supposed to keep us safe, our loved ones safe, from these Islamic jihadists, Islamic terrorists, the Fulani terrorists, the Boko Haram and the rest of them, they took side. They decided, they told us that our life or our lands, they did everything to try to use the law to gag the people. They are even so impatient to make their law that will make them, allow them to jail you for screaming for help that you are about to be killed. So they didn't wait for any law before they started clamping down on people on trumped up charges, while the terrorists were spreading and spreading into the deeper southern heartland of Nigeria. And then it became obvious that they are going nowhere as long as these terrorists in charge have finally established them. They disarmed the citizens, yet the entire structure, security structure that was supposed to prevent most of this, they have channeled them into protecting the criminal politicians, your criminal politicians. And we are watching all of that, right? So the terrorists have now grown so big and confident that if na royal father they won't kill, they will kill you. You'll be lucky if they kidnap you. So it's pretty much like you are on your own, everybody's on their own. And here we are, where you have a call, the Jaga Bandits, the Jaga Addicts, the one that took over from Bokwari. And as the whole thing seems to be going, right now, it can be like saying from frying pan to fire for Nigerians. Because as it is, Bokwari, the praise singers of Bokwari, those who praised Bokwari for 8 years, some of them have now transformed to those who are now telling you that Bokwari call failed and Tifnumbu is trying to fix that. Over 800 people are currently missing. But it's pretty much like business as usual. Everybody just continues. Yeah, everyone continues. So terrorists making demand in Nigeria is because they are comfortable. Yes, they will make demands, they will make phone calls, they will do all of that because nobody is really looking for them. Nobody is looking for them. And they know that nobody is looking for them. So the only thing is for you to just try and make sure you don't end up in their captivity. Because you see what you are watching right now. You can see the entire place. Everyone just seems to move on. They've moved on. Until you hear the news again tomorrow. Okay? That they've kidnapped another set of people and killed them. Oh, they have killed people again. Let's move on. How much is Naira to dollar today? Or how much is Naira to pounds today? People move on, right? So Kolu was, I think, is in Mina in Niger State, where he went to go and commission tractors. Here is the story behind that one. Oh. You see, I showed you the clips of that Bago guy, the Niger State governor. I show you the clips and images of, the recent order or purchases of tractors, farm tools. That he said their plan was to sort of, cultivate 1,000,000 hectares of land and distribute the land portion by portion to interested farmers in the state. A very good initiative. Tifnumbu, who have nothing to really show other than the hardship brought by his, his policies. If anybody tells you that the reason why you are going through what you are going through in Nigeria right now was because of what Bokwari did alone, they are lying to you. And if you believe them, you will join them and blame Bokwari for the next 8 years. That is if you last that long. Okay? Tifnumbu's policies, especially in the last 10 months, has destroyed Nigeria far worse than the destruction that Bokwari has brought upon you. And this is not even like an exaggeration. Okay? All it would have taken Tifnumbu to help you from the calamity, the destruction that APC, Egbekegbe, represented under Bokwari, was just for Tifnumbu to just flog all the loopholes, all the wastages, just plug them, all right, for just maybe 6 months, minimum of 6 months. For example, all the lootings that took place in the last 6 months of Bokwari, you would have a chance of still getting them back to start with. Then you see all those ones, the hyenas, the jackals, who are already the vultures, who are already hovering around him, waiting for appointments, waiting for their own time to butcher. People like Beta Edu, what's that guy's name? Olubumi Ojo, and the rest of them that they've actually listed. People like that who are already waiting for their turn, even though they told you that they are going to be different, fucking man. Anyway, so plugging it means that you just use the first, what do you call it? Your first 6 months, you use that to first block every loopholes that gives people the access to continue to loot, because that's what they do in that place every day. Whenever there is money around, they have an idea of knowing, and it's going to be gone in a few hours. So that gives you a little bit of edge. And when you want to make appointments, this time around, you will leave all those praise singers, ass lickers, all those ones that are prostrating, calling you daddy, daddy, father, their Lord and Savior. No. You bring the real people who have something to offer. Those who are coming in, who see it as a job and not something as a favor. Because everybody where they with Tifnubu right now favor. If they do them favor, it's their daddy. If you see any of them stealing, they will go and you have to go and report to daddy. If daddy says, forget that, it's all lies, like Bokwari did. Remember that time of Babasholawa? And then afterward. So when you have people who believe that whatever they do, they owe it to him and not to any of you. So the floodgate of stealing, completely, became wide open. So you see, they might be telling you something, but what they are doing, when you look at them, it is the same playbook of Bokwari economy, security, or whatever it is, the same playbook. Then when it now comes to what do you call it? Showing concern, empathy, and all that, you go ask tire. Because what they have managed to entrench as a precedent in Nigeria now is that Bukwari, what he did was even if they kill 1 million people, pretend that you don't know. Because if you don't say something, people will not quote you. It is one cold-hearted dictatorial mindset where they appear as your leaders, but they do not give a damn about you. Do you understand that now? So, and if they don't say something, let's say, they kidnap 800 people. Imagine if the media, if that's like the UK Prime Minister or American president, that over 800 women and children, Americans, have been kidnapped. They don't hold their president. The president would have, every media will be asking questions from that, and the president will be having to talk, Abi. And whatever he says is what everybody is going to begin to quote. Oh, he said this. Oh, he said that. And if he failed to say something, that could be him and his job. But in Nigeria, they know that they do not give a damn about you. We are going to look for them. All the security agents are looking for them. They will work out and nobody is looking for them. The only contact they are making is, boys, listen. What happened is that in another 1 week, they are going to offer you so amount of money. Take it and let those people go. Do you understand that now? But for now, continue to hold them. So why this is behind, and the people are there as the pawn on their chess table, because that's who we are to them, okay? We are just statistics, we're just numbers, okay? They can use us to play their dirty, bloody political games, you know that? So then, since he has nothing to say, so he would rather not say anything, even if the rest of you are, even if the whole country is erupting. If he didn't say something, you can't quote him. Because if he says something, he's probably going to sort of expose himself enough to say, oh, God damn it, man. So say nothing. Oh, how about this economy? Media, can we have a chat with him and ask him questions of what he's doing about the economy? No. They will send you information minister to go and tell you about economy. Or bring a Dele Alakori and say he should come and talk to you about security. Since the person that you probably believe is your president, since he won't say anything, you can't quote him. Unfortunately. But he wasn't in Mina. He is still in Mina, where he went to commission tractors. Listen, there's so much problems when it comes to agriculture in Nigeria. Okay? People can grow their own food. But with the level of insecurity caused by people asking for these billions, trillion naira ransom. So more than 70%, farmers in Nigeria, including their farms, they have been compromised, either destroyed, killed, or totally decimated. Now, that is a problem. We've had people, okay, who have seen an opportunity, okay, in the food sector, agricultural sector in Nigeria. Some of you are watching me here that have put your resources, your finances, including, money that you borrowed, loans that you invested in agriculture in Nigeria, that you invested in poultry business, fishery business, and all of this. And especially for those who have actually invested on farming, we've had a lot of people who have actually lost their lives or lost the entire investment in total debt today. Evidence is there. Nobody is actually, there's no section of Nigeria, there's no section of Nigerian government that is addressing that. You understand? to say, oh, since Nigeria is battling with food production, food inflation rather, hyperinflation. So it has gotten to a stage whereby food are so expensive in Nigeria that people can't afford it. Now, even if food begin to become cheaper in Nigeria, people still can't afford it. Do you even understand what that hyperinflation mean, right? The value of the money and what that money will get them out there, even if you break down the price of food, people still can't buy or be able to afford. And that's a problem. Abi? But we've had people who invested in all of this and they have lost all their investments. I have not seen anywhere that they will say government as an agency, this agency looks into the losses of people who have invested in farming or who lost their lives, so that you can have data of all of this. And as a government that want to end hunger, you can easily go and tackle the problems at the places where people are where people are losing everything. They know this. They do. Niger State suffered greatly since this terrorism started. The effect of it has eaten deep to the people of Niger themselves. That even though, despite that, the fraction of their, planting and harvesting and all that farming in that part of Nigeria has reduced so much that the little that is left, or the few that still manage to farm in that part of Nigeria, wherever they sort of grow today, people can't even afford to buy them. Their governor said nobody should come to their state and buy food in bulk. People used to go to the place, they'll buy bulk food and they'll take them elsewhere to sell from the farms. So their governor said, okay, they can no longer afford to sell their food to outsiders anymore. Outsiders are the same Nigerians, it's the same Nigeria. So therefore, they put a kind of placed embargo on food, buying food in truck in the state. But yet, people still can't feed themselves. They cannot afford to buy the food they are growing in that same Niger State. But the guy, looking beyond all of this, let's say, okay, yeah, maybe Tifnumbu has promised to provide security for the farmers in Babangida and the Abdusalami states, Niger states. I don't know. I don't see that, okay? However, something happened last week. What do they call it? Now, leadership newspaper, been at the Sun. One of those newspapers, in Abuja, named Peter Obi as their politician of the year. So naming, what do you call it? Naming, somebody said he's from the north, and that I am lying. I like that. That you are from the north, and a farmer from the north. Okay, it would be ideal if you do have a number to say, oh, there are so much farming coming from Niger State that the food is actually wasting. Okay, half of Niger State where people are farming, majority of them are already paying taxes to terrorists. Oh, I am lying here. Some of you should pick up your phone now and check on farmers paying taxes to terrorists. How much farmers are paying to taxes in Niger State? Say farmers where they pay taxes to terrorists in Niger State. Now government they harvest them. Anyway, my eyes just caught that. So we've had people. So this guy last week, prior to this, he was displaying he called himself a farmer governor, something like that, or some chief farmer, something. So then he actually invested enough in procuring tractors and other farm tools. Like I told you, the plan was to cultivate the land and let people go on them and farm, which is not different from what Emefiole, African Development Bank, additional with the authorization of a Bokuwari. It's not different from what they did when they took over 4 trillion naira loan from the African Development Bank to give to farmers. Over 80% of that money goes to farmers in northern Nigeria. The entire investment entered zero. Oh, you wait talk say the lie. Nigeria lost over 4 trillion. You remember the rice pyramid in Abuja? The money was borrowed from the African Development Bank for farmers in northern Nigeria. The farmers collected the money. When it was time for them to harvest, terrorists took over most of the farms. Some of the farmers were killed. Nigeria lost money. In order to cover their shame, they had to what? They had to bring a sawdust sandbag to Abuja as rice pyramid. So back to it, just touching on insecurity. It's not different. However, last week, when they said that Ukraine gave Nigeria 25,000 tons of grains because Nigerians are dying, northerners, who are supposed to be growing food, okay, they were dying of hunger, starving. So when Ukraine donated the food, it became news in Nigeria. So what happened? People reacted. And when the leadership newspaper, wherever they are, called Peter Obi the politician of the year, okay, so Obi now said it's a shame, a national shame, that Nigeria has resorted into kind of begging for food from a war-torn country, Ukraine, Abba. So it became talk. That Bago was there. So the Bago guy now said, Obi was right. It's a shame that Niger State alone can actually feed not just Nigeria, it can feed Africa with the with the land mass that they have. If insecurity is abated or sort of, people could go back to their farms and support comes from government and all that stuff like it should. So that is a shame. Something must be done. You know, the guy is already called farmer governor. So he was already like ordering for tractors and all of that he was going to give to farmers. All right. So then he said Obi was right. A day, 24 hours after that. Sorry, you may not see this picture if you're watching me on TikTok, by the way. 24 hours after that, they summoned him to Tifnumbu's office in As Old Rock. So when he got into Tifnumbu's office in As Old Rock, I don't know what they told him. The guy Dobale, pretty much like, and for some reason, the people that posted the image, they were actually the Tifnumbu's people. So Tifnumbu's people posted this and they said, now who is your daddy now? I don't know if you have seen the picture, you watching me on TikTok, there's a picture of where Bago was like this, a slave, like a slave that came to the, So, but they said, hey, but his daddy, this is a state governor. Do you understand me now? A state governor. But it is Nigeria where they are practicing feudalism, feudal system of government, okay? Slave master stuff, you understand? So, Tifnumbu people now posted that picture the following day, okay, to say, now who is your daddy now? That is to show that who is the boss now? See him here bowing down for the real boss. I think that was when they now decided, you don't offend Tifnumbu. How dare you go and say everybody listens to you? Because what he said was that we all hear you. Everybody hears you. Everybody heard you, my Mr. Obi. And we will do something, And I promise you that I will deliver. He was promising Obi, so Bago became very angry when the internet reacted to that photo. That guy that was all nicey, it was like all mad. And immediately, he issued a statement that everybody who saw that image, using that image to mock him, they lack respect for elders. They lack this or that. In fact, he now supports the social media regulation. Made the Tinubu government do something about social media. Say, weary. And one mini dictators, and one little Hitler, sabi. Anyway, they can't try to find means of pacifying Tinubu. They now said Tinubu should come to Niger State to come and commission tractors. Or more tractors. See achievements. Somebody ordered tractors. And therefore, the president of the country is commissioning tractors that will now produce food for the whole country. How great that he had.